Welcome to another edition of My Special Life. This week it's just going to be on my special life, my children's life. I'm not going to mention AS, it's still there, and I'm just going to dive right into it. We have another diagnosis. As you might have been able to tell, I've always known that my very talkative twin is also autistic. We just got it confirmed. There was always a time when I knew that we would get a diagnosis. I knew from around 3 years, she's now turning 5 next month, that she probably is autistic. The lining up that she enjoyed and she was so proud of, the the putting things, arranging toys according to color. There was more to it. Oh, and the insistence on everyone doing the exact same thing or sitting in the exact same chair that they belong to. All of those things and many others, they formed my unofficial diagnosis. Yes, many children do some of those things, but not many children, unless they are autistic, do all of those things. My one fear was that they would miss it because of her being able to talk. But she has odd grammatical turns of phrase, which I think I've mentioned before, something like, "Mommy, what are you going?" instead of "where are you going?" Or "Mommy, where you went?" instead of "where did you go?" The grammatical errors are unnatural. They're not the normal grammatical errors that little children make. They're abnormal. That's another sign. Or things like, "What are you doing there?" Or what are you holding? That's not a typical grammatical error. So watch out. If your child is able to speak, are they using normal speech patterns? Are they following typical or usual errors, or are they giving you their own sort of error? Being able to talk doesn't necessarily mean that your child doesn't have autism. So don't doubt yourself. This is one of those parents, don't doubt yourself type videos, but also this is our life as well. So as time went on and she insisted on being taught, she insisted on doing school, and she insisted on doing a book type school, not just coloring in. She wanted proper education, like formal education, which went against my grain. Sorry, I know some of you called migraines, but yes, that was not an intended pun. But on that note, and let me segue again, parenting neurodivergent children, neurodiverse children, changes everything. It sets your plans, it turns them, it's upside down, it all goes awry. Everything you planned flies out the window, and it's all about survival. Your child's survival and thriving as much as they can with the neurological disorders they have. ADHD, autism, any other disorder of that sort. As you hear, the clue is neurodivergent. It's the brain, it's not behavioral. ADHD, if it's truly what your child has, or your uncle's child or your cousin's child, is a brain disorder. Things are misfiring, things are not working, hormones are missing, or there's too much of it, or there's too much dopamine, or there isn't enough dopamine. It's real. Neurotransmitters are going awry. Networks are not forming and not pruning as they should. It's not behavioral. There is no cure either. What people have found is that children who showed certain traits and were diagnosed actually didn't have it in the first place. If they would have gone to someone else, that person would have said, "No, they're actually not autistic." So many of those children who have been miraculously cured never had real autism in the first place. Others, it turns out, have different disorders that seemed to be autism but are not. Selective mutism could present as non-verbal, non-speaking autism. So take all those, this person cured their child with a grain of salt, because firstly, they might actually not even have had autism. Secondly, it might not be that they're cured, but that the child is hiding and it's internal. They're masking, or the adult they're masking their struggles, or it's a spectrum. It's easier to learn certain behavior. They will force it into you. And mom mentioned how her child has been going to therapy, and he's added 3 more words to his vocab, which was limited. 3 words in 6 months of therapy, which I'm pretty sure the poor child would have learned anyway at home organically, even if it would have taken him 2 years. But here's the thing, this poor little boy, he showed how, because he can communicate without speaking, he can type, and he told his mom that his problem is he doesn't want to go to therapy anymore because he always gets a sweet, which is a red flag. He always gets a sweet when he does it properly, when he produces his sounds properly, his F's or his T's. But he's been struggling with a certain letter. I think it was actually the sound F. And his teacher has been holding back the sweet and telling him his therapist, you're not trying hard enough. Some children have been beaten into a form of submission, but their brains are damaged for life. Look for adult autistics with complex PTSD. They could be the survivors of this kind of therapy. Thankfully, all the parents said, get your child a different therapist. We don't reward children with sweets for doing well, and we reward the child for trying, not for producing what we want them to produce. It's a brain thing. It's not a behavioral thing. It's a brain thing. Coming back to our life, that means everything I had planned to do, I cannot do anymore. With the sensory things, they need sensory things. They need sensory food, sensory activities, and that includes crunching things. They need sensory input. That's what I wanted to say. That's the word, input. More often than a neurotypical, a child who's got typical neuro stuff going on would need. So that means we give them rice cakes, we give them crunchy stuff in between meals. They're eating between meals. That was something we never ever wanted to do with any of our children, but for their sake and ours, we now do it. Anything to calm their brains down, we will do. So yeah, that's one of the things, how they eat. How we parent changes completely, and with what I'm about to talk about now, it changes drastically. It doesn't even exist. In a way, it doesn't even exist. My daughter, the time had come for us to now get a diagnosis because she was insisting on doing school her way, insisting on not doing what she should be doing, but doing other things that are way advanced. You've heard me talk about it. It was now becoming difficult for me and her, and difficult for the other children. Her behavior was changing and becoming more volatile towards the other children. So now you have to plan more. This one must stay away from that one, and this one mustn't say that. And then you add in the mix. You are parenting. I'm hoping it's still recording. I got a phone call while I was recording this. So there you are. You are parenting in a totally different world, in a totally different way, totally different children to what you thought you'd parent. And every day, something new pops up. This will be difficult, no matter who you are, whether you're physically ill like me or not. And it's draining. But I will say, honestly, I hate the comparison game, but I will be honest. People who homeschool their children have it harder because it's constant. They consistently and constant are dealing with this all day, every single day. I felt sorry for a mother when her adult child was acting like mine do. But then I just thought, it's different, because she would send an email to the family, the rest of the family who were loving and caring, also different. And she'd say, okay, everybody brace yourselves. Now it's school holidays, he's home. We are always home, or our children are always home. There is no rest, there is no respite. It's just constant warfare, and it is warfare. So you have this warfare going on as a parent between your child and the way their brain is working or not working, functioning, malfunctioning. And then add in all the other children who also have challenges of their own, different types. You have to parent differently and educate differently. And then I'm still coming to my daughter, add her diagnosis and children who don't understand. I mean, not even my teenagers get it. I've been telling them, even before the diagnosis was officially recognized, I told them, I'm pretty sure your sister has pathological demand avoidance. This is how you should approach her. Stop saying, come eat. Say, would you like to eat? Do you want to come eat you now? Are you ready to eat? Things like that are how we unfortunately have to parent. We can't say please, even the word please, requests. They don't accept requests. It's not purposeful. It's part of their disorder. And now, I will actually mention part of it. So now you've got little children and older children who don't understand how to keep the peace. You've got children who break the peace. And that was only because he slammed a glass door and his teen siblings told him, don't slam the door. That was his reaction, my now 9-year-old son. And they're all in this one pot. Everything, someone explodes every day, sometimes multiple times a day. Many children. Some will explode, scream, shout, yell, kick, hit, throw things, bang their heads. Some will explode by going out and being destructive. Or loud. For example, before we go into my daughter with the recent diagnosis, we've got Amarissa. My 9-year-old, ADHD, hectic, and I'm sure there are other things, but I don't have a word for them, but ADHD. She will bang on the walls, kick on the walls when we're trying to settle down and the twins should be sleeping. And she said that's because she's angry. That's why she tore her sister's books, because she's angry. That's why she did this, because she's angry. That's why she broke all the crayons, because she's angry. So I said to her, all right, how about you go jump on this? It's like a mattress that is hard but not firm. It's a thick therapy type mattress. Go jump on that or run around the house. The next thing, oh, Mom, Marissa's outside and she's making noise. She's running around and making noise. This is at night time. So you have all day and into the night. And then you've got children who wake up in the night. So she was running around like I told her to, but also screaming and making noise. So it didn't help. It didn't solve the wall kicking because there was still noise. That is how it is. Or she'll suck a pen because she was bored. I was bored and I thought, let me just suck ink. That is, I don't know how you can't actually deal with it. There are things you can't prevent. You can't prevent someone getting bored and sucking a pen unless you put them in a straitjacket and you sit with them and you make them follow you to the toilet. You can't do anything about the madness, and it's never ending madness, insanity. Yeah. So you've got a child like that who doesn't understand themselves, who doesn't understand how to behave, and then they are lumped with a sibling who doesn't understand how to act either, doesn't understand what they should be like as a child, a little sister. And it's actually not even a melting pot, it's a volcano waiting to explode. I will give examples when I'm giving you the traits of pathological demand avoidance. We did a Connors questionnaire and we did the MChat and of course observation, and that's how we got our diagnosis. Autism, mild as the doctor put it, which I would say is level 1. She will need some support. And ADHD, which you pretty much all knew, and extreme demand avoidance, which I hadn't really realized that you can have extreme versus not extreme. I just knew that I'm struggling. Here we are, the traits. Extreme resistance to normal demands and requests. Can you please take your shoes off? They're wet. Don't walk on here. Your feet are wet. You're going to slide and slip on the tiles and fall. She does. Those are ordinary, normal requests. Come and eat. It's lunchtime. That's a demand. They will not handle that. They can fly off the handle. That is the norm. They can fly off the handle. Just because you've said, come, let me read you a story. Come, let us play. They don't care whether you're a child or an adult. They will fly off the handle. Imagine now what that's like if you've got children who don't understand this, who don't understand PDA, and all they know is the sister of ours takes our things or doesn't want to play with us or she wants to play with us her way. It's hard. If I, who understand it, get tired and frustrated, how much more a little child whose intellect is also little, and how much more can they handle it when they can't even handle their own disorder? Manipulative behavior to avoid demands can be verbal manipulation. They keep talking and talking and talking to hopefully, or hoping that you will stop the demand. Like my daughter, when she'll say, this is now Naynay, my 4-year-old. When you say to her, can you please have 4 potatoes? Or I will say, would you like to have a potato or a pea or 3 peas? Oh, you know, mommy, Moses does this and this and this and that. And she will talk and talk and talk, hoping that you will stop saying, how about, eating your food? That's how they will be. They have sudden changes in mood, and those are related to their levels of anxiety and wanting to be in control. If they don't feel like they are in charge, suddenly they will go from happy to angry, furious, fuming, and violent. Just like that. Unpredictable, because it's a normal thing that you've asked. You haven't said, I'm so angry at you. Why did you write on the wall? It can be something as simple as, come, let's take off our shoes. Bam! They've gone from, I'm so happy, look, I'm Pharaoh, to throwing things at you because you were mean to me. And yet you weren't. But that's how they interpret it. You were being mean for telling them to take off their wet shoes. Sociable, but lack of social constraints. That's another one that I fear that I'm sure many diagnosticians have missed, because they have swallowed the thing that all autistics are not sociable. There is a subset that actually is very sociable, but they don't have any social constraints. They will laugh at things that are not funny. They will make jokes at inappropriate times. I've seen it in an adult I know who will laugh while he's telling you that someone got cancer or someone was running and then they got run over by a car. I've seen this in this particular adult who doesn't want to believe me that they are disordered and doesn't want to go get help. And everyone's sitting looking at them uncomfortably like, okay, that's not actually funny. That is typical of this disorder. One that is typical to Naynay is that when we're in class at church, she will talk over the teacher and just tell you loudly, Mom, let's look at my Bible. She's bored. She's not keeping up with what is being said because it's too fast for her slow processing. And she starts talking and talking and talking about her Bible. No matter how often you say, shh, shh, it works both ways. It's not only that church doesn't work for her because she's scared of babies, but she is a disruption for the class as well. Role playing and pretend. Another one that is not normal. We always say autistics don't play the typical way. And I knew there was something off with this because we have to tick the form, right? The questionnaire. And it says, do they role play? Do they play pretend? And I thought, but if we answer this honestly, what if they say then the child is not autistic? But they are if they have PDA. They role play to such an extent that one pamphlet said they lose all touch with reality. They are whatever they're pretending to be. And there we have Pharaoh. I'm going to actually have a lot of interruptions. This is going to be quite jerky because I'm not doing well physically, but I don't want to take my other set of painkillers because they really make me extremely sleepy. so sleepy that I can't even teach. I'm reading a book, I will read to my children, and like yesterday, I'm falling asleep. So I'm sorry about the lack of fluidity. I'm sorry. So role playing, pretend, Pharaoh, lose all touch with reality. My daughter is not only pretending to be Pharaoh when she is Pharaoh, whether she's got a skirt on her head or the actual head dress thing, she is Pharaoh. So she will say to you, no, I can't wear my warm top even though it's cold, because Pharaoh was always topless, as in the pictures she sees. Pharaoh doesn't wear a warm top. So I, being Pharaoh, that's what she's telling us, shouldn't be dressed like this. I, being Pharaoh, shouldn't do this because Pharaoh didn't do it. So I ticked it, and then I added that she likes to be Pharaoh. And my family, when I gave them this question, because it didn't sit right with me, does she pretend, or does the child pretend to be something or role play? And they said, yes, she does, in a positive sense. But I was telling them, no, but the thing is, she doesn't pretend that she is a little girl having fake tea in a teacup. She is Pharaoh. She is Daniel. She is a sheep. She is something in a book. She is role playing. She is pretending to be a character, and it's different. It's different to pretending, look, let's pretend this is a butterfly. That's not what she does. She takes on that person's role, persona, activities. So yes, she'll pretend the ball is a sheep, but she is David. She's never just a random shepherd. She is somebody, and that is the difference. If your child is like that, it's a red flag. Constantly, consistently like that, red flag. They can be bossy and rough. Yes, I won't even give you any examples. If you know a bossy child, you know what they're like. They can avoid or refuse to do tasks they would normally enjoy. This is one I even verbalized to the pediatrician, that my child loves bathing. She loves being in the water. She enjoys now that they don't bath together with her sister. She enjoys the freedom. She enjoys lying in different ways on her tummy, on her back. But when it's actually time to get undressed and go into the bath, we have World War III in the house. She screams, she cries, no, can't I bath tomorrow instead? See? Trying to manipulate you. But I'm not really dirty. Can't I bath tomorrow instead? That's how she is. So what we do there, I mean, I'm not an expert, but what I will say is, okay, that's fine. You don't want to bath? That's okay. You can be a bit dirty. You can wash off the dirt tomorrow. We will just only clean Rio. Then she can be nice and fresh. I'm sorry. That's just how we do it. And interestingly, because they don't really understand nuances and that how they should feel, it doesn't actually even sting, which is a bit sad, because how do you chastise someone who's unchastisable? But yes, that's what you'll say. And then she'll say, I'm going to bath. I want to be fresh. And then she comes out, well, you see, I'm fresh. I'm clean. I'm not stinky. No one ever said she's stinky. I'm not stinky anymore. That's how we do it. That's just one tip I can give. If I can give any other tips, I will do so, based also on my life and what works, which is not much. Yes, we are on medication. Medication for the mood swings, medication for the ADHD. We're starting very little, and we might go up. I'm sure we will go up. But yes, we have done that. Supplements, everyone questions us on that. Psychiatrists, pediatricians, we are on all the supplements. Magnesium, calcium, iron, B6, zinc, what else is it? Vitamin C, multivitamin, L-theanine. And for the sleep Vance is in natural whatever, and melatonin. And still she can't sleep. We are on omegas. That's the other one. That's the big one that they all expect you to be on. But still, we need extra help. If I give them treats, like on Fridays, I try and make sure it's either reduced sugar or non-sugar at all. It's more expensive, but I need to still give them something crunchy, something crispy, something cold. So even the iced lollies are all sugar-free. Yes, it's not perfect, but neither is a brain disorder, neurological disorder perfect either. And I've never claimed to be a perfect mother. They shout or scream if they don't get their own way. Yep, that's her. Shout or scream and you're in trouble. Ew. Must I come dress you? Do you want me to dress you? Because you don't want Ella. Ella, can you please make this up? Thank you. They go from happy to furious very quickly, and if you think your child is over the top and they have all these other traits and the ones I might yet mention, really think about it. It's about getting a proper diagnosis and then seeing how to manage it. PDA, like autism and ADHD, is incurable. There's no cure. It goes on forever until the person dies. So it's for life, and it will alter their life, the trajectory of their life, as much as it has altered yours as a parent or caregiver. They don't realize other people's feelings matter as much as theirs do. And when you have impulsivity from the ADHD and this, it's a disaster when you have children, siblings, or friends, children at playgroup. Because if my feelings matter more than yours all the time, no matter how much we teach her that it's not so, and this other thing they mentioned, parents will be hammering the right message into the child. It doesn't change how they think. It's not a parenting thing. It's disordered thinking, disordered, social understanding or lack of social understanding. So if I want to play with Mickey's toy, I will take it because my feelings matter more than Mickey, even though it's his toy. I want to play with it, so I must play with it. It makes sense to the child, but it won't make sense to the other child, and then they will say no, understandably and rightly so, and then there will be a fight. Whereas if I'm older and thinking, I can say, would you like to rather play with my pencil, or do you want to play with my marker? Do you want to draw? Deflect. I've never tried it because she hasn't taken anything of mine, but if she wanted to, I would try and deflect. That's what I would do. Or I would say, okay, fine, you'll do this, then I will go and do something else, which they might actually prefer to do even more than what you are doing. I don't know if that's possible, if it would work. I'm just thinking out loud here. But it is hard for you, and it's hard for your other little children to handle too. They interrupt often as they don't understand social rules. I've also seen this with an adult. Interrupting often, finishing off sentences often wrong, and interrupting often as they don't understand that they shouldn't. They don't understand that they shouldn't. So they're constantly interrupting, and there was another fight that happened because I'm on the phone talking to an admin for, I don't know who was having a doctor's appointment. Could have been me, could have been the children. And she comes and she starts talking to me. I'm on the phone. Now, I've never given her any guidance about talking to me on the phone because I always make sure I make phone calls when she's not around. But I had to make a phone call. She came. She's talking to me, mommy. Her sister is telling her, you don't talk to people on the phone. That escalated super fast. I would have said to her, come, let's go play. Do you want to go play on the swing set? Don't ever try as much as possible not to give a direct command or demand or request, because it will go south or left, downhill, whichever direction it is in your language. That's how it will go. So you have to pick your battles, and that's another thing I've tried to show my teens and teach them. Pick your battles, but their brains are also forming. I have to pick my battles with them too. So parents, it's going to be tough, and those of you who know people whose children have this, you also have to be so understanding and supportive, because these children and adults can become violent, do become violent. No one wants to escalate into screaming and crying, because it takes away everybody's peace. It takes away the child's peace, it takes away everybody's peace, and it can become dangerous. Letting them do something that won't be harmful might be the safest route for everybody, even if to other people or to you as the onlooker it might seem as if they're just letting the child get away with it. They're not. It's safer that way. They can seem hyperfixated on the same question over and over again, or the same game, or the same topic, or the same toy. You saw that with Bunny for ages. Now it's Pharaoh. It changes. And the educational psychologist had wondered if Micaiah doesn't have PDA, and I believe he actually does. The outbursts, the being angry, he does, but not extreme. They blame others for things. Yes. Oh, Micaiah did that. Really, Naynay? Did Micaiah really do it? No. That's also typical. Blaming others. Mickey does that as well. You can say it's lying. You can say so. They lie. But then so do other children who've got ADHD as well. It's impulsive to just lie. They don't usually feel proud when they've done well, nor ashamed when they haven't. They don't have an innate sense of, look, Mom, look at I did well. Or not all, some do, my girl does. And therefore, they don't feel ashamed when they haven't done well. You can't then make them feel like I shouldn't poop in the corner of the room if they don't feel ashamed when they have. If they don't care that others don't poop on the floor, it won't make a difference to them. They can seem extremely rude or naughty as they don't understand that. They can seem extremely rude or naughty as they don't understand which rules are important and which are not. They don't understand. They will never understand. They're not being purposely rude. They're not being rebellious. They just don't understand. And so we give grace. My teens have learned to stop saying to their child, say please, say thank you. It's pointless. Just let it be. They can be unkind without understanding that this upsets the other. They don't realize it. They can be unkind and honest sometimes, but their honesty can be hurtful. Or they can say mean things they're thinking, and that can be hurtful. And they don't realize that it hurts the other person. They're just saying something. They don't understand their role as a child. Whoa, you know this one. You've heard me. You've seen me. You've seen the complaints. Her taking over being the teacher while I'm trying to teach. They do that with parents as well, where they don't get it. I'm the child. The parent is my teacher, my supervisor, my savior, my helper, my caregiver. They are, in a sense, above me. They don't see that. They don't understand it. We are equal. So I can tell you, she will ask me when she's doing her schoolwork, Mommy, like she's teaching me, is this an A or a B? And I must answer. That is how they are. I don't know what it'll be like in an adult or in a teenager, how that will manifest. But I'm sure that this is why, unfortunately, though they actually can be very intelligent, this is why they don't do well in school. Or if they do well in school, they don't do well in employment. If you don't understand that you are the employee, you will start bossing the boss around. If you're also already naturally bossy, you will then boss the boss around, and most bosses will not take that. Or you will boss the customer around. The customer will not understand that you've got a disorder. They will just know that you are being rude. That then will lose you your job. You will be getting to the cause of PDA, or what is highly correlated with it. You will not realize how important it is for you to study, so you will not study. You will not want to study, so you will not study. And then you will fail. They don't know how to keep secrets. I don't bother telling my children anything, but this is what I saw with Micaiah and Amy actually, but especially Micaiah. He will come and tell on the teens, and I'll tell him, all right, so that there's no anger and why did you tell? I'll tell him, don't tell them that you told me, or okay, thank you, I'll deal with it. And then he will just go and tell them, Ella, I told Mom that you are hiding this or that. And even if I now, because first it just happened, he would come tell me, I'm thinking he's like a typical child, so he has told on the child, he's not going to come back to that same child and tell on himself, but he does. And then I would tell him, okay, thank you for telling me. Please don't tell Ella you have told her. Don't tell Ella you've told me. And he still does it anyway. So, yeah. And they don't know how to keep secrets. They don't know how to even protect themselves. You can see them often being clumsy, maybe in the way they run, in the way they hold their pen, how they write. There is that as well. They struggle with the difference between real and pretend games. They can be taken very seriously. It's real. And I wonder if they can't tell the difference between real and fake, should we then, how much of TV is bad for them? All those educational things, what if they believe it's real? So I do a point of saying that's a person wearing an outfit, like if there are children and then there's the Teletubbies, for example, I will say that is someone wearing a costume, like you wear a firefighter costume. I'm hoping that it sinks into them that it's not real. They can be extremely intelligent, but it won't show. Partly because they don't understand that they should study hard, or they have a fear of failure, so they don't try. They can talk a lot to avoid doing something. Yes, I've already touched that. Angry and violent, I've already touched on that. Why? High anxiety. And anxiety is something a parent cannot control. It's another reason why, besides the fact that it's neurological, not behavioral, that we can never blame the parents and say it's poor parenting. Do we blame adults who have generalized anxiety disorder do we blame their generalized anxiety disorder on their parents? They have high anxiety, totally. And if you're always anxious, worried, you want to be able to control the outcome. Just naturally, even you, as a neurotypical person. Now, if it's extreme anxiety, and then it seems like everybody is trying to tell you what to do, that's how it feels to them. If you say, come, let's go play, instead of them thinking they're inviting me to have fun, they're telling me what to do. If you say, come, let's eat, they're telling me what to do. They're telling me, and everything is attacking me, and I need control, and they explode. And unfortunately, they will explode hard, often, consistently, because life is full of things you must do. Brushing your teeth, getting undressed, going to sleep, taking a walk, getting into the car. It's a thing you must do. Yeah, so that's it, folk. That is it. That's what we're dealing with this week. Well, we've been dealing it for many weeks. That is what our new diagnosis is. So yes, to the person who thought that it's impossible to have 4 children with autism, it's actually possible. I have 4 children diagnosed with autism in my family, diagnosed as autistic, depending on where you stand on this whole debate on whether you have autism or you are autistic. And it's becoming more difficult and more difficult as a parent, as a mother, as a caregiver, and as a teacher. It's sometimes funny, and because I know they're not doing it on purpose, I understand. But yes, that is our life, and I don't even know if I've got anything to show you. But if I'm going to show you something at the end of this video, it's just literally our very special life. Out of control, chaotic, but it's our life, and so we have to find the joy somewhere. Have a lovely weekend if you're watching this before the weekend. I know this is random, but I've visited many African countries, and I know that we eat differently. So for the sake of those who don't eat how I eat, I made stir-fried broccoli with garlic and herbs. I made fries, fake chicken strips, with what did I put on there? Chicken seasoning, chicken flavored seasoning. I did potatoes with cumin, coriander and turmeric, and mashed sweet potato, sweet butternut with honey and ginger and cinnamon. That is what was on those plates, just for interest's sake. We have given up on asking or expecting the twins to sit down. Our mostly non-speaking angel has a few spoons and then spins and then comes back. her mostly very talkative twin hardly eats anyway. She'll have a few spoons and then walk around, play, talk, go upstairs, wander around. And of course, if you try and bring her back down, she gets angry. She'll put our hands together and then had fun watching us do ring-a-ring-a-rosies and joining us with our falling.
Be bold.
Yes, be bold.
But.
Tweet, tweet. Yes, you look happy. My girl will look at you with much meaning, look you in the eyes and say, cow. She'll say cow, moo. Oh, no, she'll say cow and we are apparently meant to say moo. Rio loves mommy. Mommy loves Rio. She doesn't know it. And then she'll say cat. And then
Elephant.
See, that's exactly what she does. That's her, I don't know what it is. I know some say that they like the sound of the words they say. That's why they say those words. This is my Naynay's room. I give them stickers, anything to keep them busy just for a while, so I can breathe or edit videos or read books to record and then edit and add to. So we're getting there. We're covering up her wall sooner rather than later. Let's see what else. And yes, on the wardrobe. That's part of our special life, as is those blinds that have been detached, moved around. That's part of our special life as well. These are also part of the special life. They've been broken by my special soon to be 10-year-old. This was her doing. This is the lowest set is just all gone. And same, they sleep on mattresses because they kept jumping on their beds and the beds broke. So I took away the mattresses. What's the point, eh? If you're gonna keep breaking beds. And I like how when I made them put drawer on the window or write on the window, whatever they wanted to do, just like she has done on her wall with not erasable, not washable crayon. She wrote words, and I'm glad that she is writing words. And I'm going to let her write in capitals, and I think maybe she'll spell better when she writes in capitals. I'm not going to tell her anymore to write in lowercase, because I know we have seen that children who write in lowercase or children who have some dysgraphia do struggle with writing lowercase. So I shall forgive this. At least she's putting down what she has learned. And they rhyme. So she's definitely got that, definitely got it in her head forever and forever. Amen.